This is Bob Hope for Texaco. I'm going to show you an underground movie like you've never seen before. An imaginary drilling trip to show you what Texaco has to go through to get you oil. Every layer here has a different meaning. There may be oil farther down when we see dome-shaped layers like this. Hey, diamonds are a girl's best friend, but they can also be a drilling team's best friend. Because to get through this hard-capped rock, we had to change to this expensive diamond-studded drill bit. Now we're in sandstone, where oil often collects. Yeah, this looks like the place. We've reached oil. You know, it might take Texaco as long as 1.5 years to drill a real well and go down 4 miles and spend over $1 million. So you see, this isn't exactly a bargain basement. But the job has to be done so we can be less dependent on costly, unreliable sources of oil from abroad. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust.
Thank you very much. You know, I've entertained a lot of servicemen in my day, but this is the first time I've worked for Texaco servicemen. I must be pretty popular, though. A couple of you asked me to come back in 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. But being an independent Texaco retailer is important. Where else can you find guys who get their kicks selling tires, batteries, and accessories? But I don't blame you. You guys sell great products. Look at here. Name brand tires, Haviland motor oil, long life dependable batteries, fan belts, air filters, oil filters, and spark plugs to keep your car in tip-top shape. Where can you get them? From us! I think somebody out there needs a tune-up. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust. Say, this offshore drilling rig might look like a toy to you, but to Texaco, drilling offshore is serious business. To drill just one offshore well takes a lot of manpower and supplies, and you can't put all that stuff in a rowboat. Texaco will use thousands of sacks of cement, hundreds of people like engineers, geologists, and carpenters, miles of drill pipe, drilling bits, crew boats, and helicopters, plus lots more. In the last 5 years, Texaco has spent over $800 million in the United States for offshore leases. With a little luck and a lot of hard work, those leases will bring in oil to help make us more self-sufficient and less dependent on oil from abroad. Hey, there's a great potential for finding new supplies of oil under our oceans, and Texaco is doing everything it can to find them. Say, did anyone bring a fishing pole? At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust. We put this car inside a cold chamber to show you how Texaco's antifreeze and coolant can help protect your car against freeze-ups as well as rust and corrosion all year long. Hey, I didn't know you guys were going to come formal. We left the car here for 12 hours at 30 below zero. Now, a frozen cooling system can mean costly repair bills. But with Texaco's antifreeze and coolant, you don't have to worry. Okay, start her up. For test purposes, we modified the cooling system slightly so you can immediately see it didn't freeze up even at 30 below. No other antifreeze of this type protects better against freeze-up. Hey, we just got the seal of approval. So have your independent Texaco retailer install Texaco's antifreeze and coolant now. Hey, this is Bob Hope. You know, when Texaco looks for oil, there's more to it than just poking a hole in the ground. We could have to drill down over 4 miles through hundreds of layers of soil and rock and spend over $1 million. This is no bargain basement. But it's worth it if we can find oil and make America less dependent on costly oil from abroad. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust. You know, a state trooper car is really a lot like your car. Watch this. Take away the stuff that makes a trooper car look like a trooper car, and what have you got? 5 to 10 in the big house. Now, really, you've got a car with an engine that needs protection, just like yours. And one of the best ways you can protect it is with Texaco's Haviland Super Premium Motor Oil. We tested it in more than 40 trooper cars for over 2 million grueling miles without any oil-related breakdowns of the parts protected by Haviland. And of the engines inspected, none showed any sign of unusual wear, thanks to Haviland's unique formulation that protects against friction and wear. So, no matter what kind of car you drive, have your independent Texaco retailer help protect it like a trooper with Texaco's Haviland Super Premium Motor Oil. Hey, you recognize that good-looking fella in the pink tights? That's me, one of my on-the-road pictures. You know, back in '48, that was really getting high mileage. Today, I still spend a lot of time on the road. I got rid of those pink tights, but I still do everything I can to get good mileage. How do I do it? By getting regular engine tune-ups and seeing my independent Texaco retailer for fine quality Texaco products like air filters, points, and spark plugs. Just by getting a complete tune-up, I can save up to 1 gallon in every 10 I use. And these days, that's pretty important. Hey, there's my new chauffeur. He gets 30 miles to the banana. Yes, sir, I've tried lots of ways to get good mileage. But through the years, I've found one of the best ways to help keep your car running at its best is to see your independent Texaco retailer for fine quality products. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust. Hey, here's a great place to visit if you must do some driving. Your independent Texaco retailer. Ask how he can help you get better mileage with quality Texaco products and by practicing good maintenance. He also has fine Texaco gasolines, including lead-free Texaco, all with protective and detergent additives. So let your independent Texaco retailer help you get the most out of every gallon of gasoline you use. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust.
In the summertime, when the weather is high, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, we go fishing or go sailing in the sea. We're always happy, life's for living, yeah, that's our philosophy.
Hey, this is Bob Hope for Texaco. I can tell you, when it comes to hot weather and packed highways, it's a lot better to be on the road than stuck by the side of it. Don't let an overheated car spoil your summer driving. Have your independent Texaco retailer check your car's cooling system regularly and protect it with Texaco antifreeze and coolant. No other coolant of this type protects better against boilover. And it helps prevent rust and corrosion all year long. Help keep your car from blowing off steam this summer. With Texaco antifreeze and coolant.
You can stretch right up and touch the sky.
Today, millions of people are protecting their cars like a trooper with a motor oil that has a very large following. Texaco's Haviland Super Premium. People have learned to trust the motor oil that's been tested in more than 40 state trooper cars and driven a total of over 2 million grueling miles. Of the engines taken apart and inspected, there were no signs of unusual wear. No matter what kind of buggy you're driving, come on, follow me. Join the millions of Haviland users on the road today. See, I'm beginning to feel like the Pied Piper. So next time you need oil, see your independent Texaco retailer for Haviland Super Premium Motor Oil.
And remember, with Haviland's formulation, you don't have to buy any extra motor oil additives. It provides all the protection a car's engine needs.
So get Texaco's Haviland Super Premium Motor Oil and protect your car like a trooper. You know, you don't have to be a star to have your car treated like one. Texaco thinks every car should be treated like a star with good maintenance and our good gasoline. That's one reason Texaco is America's largest selling gasoline. With our premium Sky Chief, our regular Fire Chief, or lead-free Texaco. All with protective and detergent additives. And remember, star treatment doesn't stop at the gasoline pump. It means regular maintenance and tune-ups with quality Texaco products that will help keep your engine running right, so you can get the most out of every gallon of gasoline you use. So if you must drive, have your car maintained regularly and see your independent Texaco retailer for our good gasoline. Now that's what I call star treatment. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust.
when the weather is high. You can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, we go fishing or go sailing in the sea. We're always happy, life's for living, yeah, that's our philosophy.
Hey, this is Bob Hope for Texaco. I can tell you, when it comes to hot weather and packed highways, it's a lot better to be on the road than stuck by the side of it. Don't let an overheated car spoil your driving. Say, have your independent Texaco retailer check your car's cooling system regularly and protect it with Texaco antifreeze and coolant. No other coolant of this type protects better against boil-over. And it helps prevent rust and corrosion all year long. Help keep your car from blowing off steam with Texaco antifreeze and coolant. Hey, this is Bob for Texaco Hope. You know, while Crosby's been squeezing oranges, I've been going places where Texaco's squeezing more oil out of our dwindling supplies. Like Santa Maria, California, where Texaco's getting more oil out than before by heating it with steam. Down a make-believe oil well.
Yeah, this looks like the place. We've reached oil. You know, it might take Texaco as long as 1.5 years to drill a real well and go down 4 miles and spend over $1 million.
Then I played around near a big water hole, a Texaco rig 70 miles out in the Gulf of Mexico, in water 260 feet deep, where drilling can cost up to 6 times more than on land. The Texaco refinery in Anacortes, Washington, busy 24 hours a day turning out gasoline and other petroleum products. I saw how Texaco moves its oil around, by ship, pipeline, and big babies like this. And I saw Texaco stations run by independent retailers that can provide you with good gasoline and quality products. Yeah, I've seen Texaco do the whole job: exploration, refining, transportation, and marketing, to get you the oil and gasoline you need when you need it. See you again from somewhere on the road. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust. Today, millions of people are protecting their cars like a trooper with a motor oil that has a very large following. Texaco's Haviland Super Premium. People have learned to trust the motor oil that's been tested in more than 90 state trooper cars and driven a total of over 4 million tough miles. Of the engines taken apart and inspected, there were no signs of unusual wear. No matter what kind of buggy you're driving, come on, follow me. Join the millions of Haviland users on the road today. Say, I'm beginning to feel like the Pied Piper. So next time you need oil, see your independent Texaco retailer for Haviland Super Premium Motor Oil.
And remember, with Haviland's formulation, you don't have to buy any extra motor oil additives. Haviland provides all the protection a car's engine needs.
So get Texaco's Haviland Super Premium Motor Oil and protect your car like a trooper.
Car 88 responding.
Since 1972, more than 90 state trooper cars using Haviland Super Premium all-temperature motor oil were driven a total of over 4 million tough miles. Of the engines taken apart and inspected, none showed any sign of unusual wear. With Haviland's balanced formulation, you get all this protection without buying any extra motor oil additives. Trust Texaco to protect your car like a trooper with Haviland Super Premium Motor Oil. Hey, this is Bob for Texaco Hope doing my first detergent commercial. Hey, you see this? It's the large family-size detergent. And it could help get gasoline for your car. Watch this amazing demonstration. We're soaking this shirt in oil. Yeah. Now to get that oil out, he squeezes. Got most of it, but he can get more out by adding water. You think he got it all out, King Kong? Wrong. Put it in that detergent. Squeeze. See? We got more out.
My goodness.
Well, that demonstrates what we're doing. 45 years ago, Texaco started drilling here. Underground water flow increased oil production, but not enough. To get more oil, Texaco has come up with a way to pump detergent into the ground. It'll cost around $70 million. We're borrowing it from Bing. Texaco thinks there's still millions of barrels in this field. As America depends more and more on imported oil, we've got to do whatever we can to come up with more oil right here. Texaco, working to keep your trust for 75 years. Bob Hope on the bridge of a Texaco supertanker, fog-bound near Milford Haven, Wales. But watch. No, it's not magic. It's a tanker simulator on dry land in New York. Almost anything we confront at sea can be recreated here by computer. It's all part of Texaco's ongoing tanker training program. That makes sure our experienced officers continue to keep their tankers in our seas ship-shape. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust. Hey, this is Bob on the road for Texaco Hope. And I'm going to show you one of the toughest holes in the world. Number 2 here at Texaco Santa Maria oil field in California. Once all we could get out of this well was 5 barrels a day. Today, we're getting 80. You see, by injecting steam into oil wells, we can heat the oil and get more out than we could before. It's expensive, but it can help us become less dependent on foreign oil. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust. This is Bob Hope for Texaco. I'm going to show you an underground movie like you've never seen before. An imaginary drilling trip to show you what Texaco has to go through to get you oil. Every layer here has a different meaning. There may be oil farther down when we see dome-shaped layers like this. Hey, diamonds are a girl's best friend, but they can also be a drilling team's best friend. Because to get through this hard-capped rock, we had to change to this expensive diamond-studded drill bit. Now we're in sandstone, where oil often collects. Yeah, this looks like the place. We've reached oil. You know, it might take Texaco as long as 1.5 years to drill a real well and go down 4 miles and spend over $1 million. So you see, this isn't exactly a bargain basement. But the job has to be done so we can be less dependent on costly, unreliable sources of oil from abroad. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust. It's going to be a little short. About 70 miles. Hey, this is Bob for Texaco Hope in the Gulf of Mexico. When you come this far out for oil, you usually have to drill in deeper water. Not too long ago, we could only operate in shallow water. How deep is it here, Don?
260 feet, Bob. That's a lot more than some of your drives.
Oh, funny. 260 feet. You know, when you come this far and drill in these deep waters for oil, it can cost up to 6 times more than drilling on land. But we've got to do this if America's to become less dependent on unreliable sources of oil from abroad. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust. It's going to be a little short. About 70 miles. This is Bob for Texaco Hope in the Gulf of Mexico. This water is 260 feet deep. It can cost up to 6 times more to drill for oil out here than on land. But we've got to do this if America's to become less dependent on unreliable sources of oil from abroad. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust. All right, men, keep an eye on them now. We don't want them getting in our way. Hey, this is Bob, ready with your National Guard Hope. And I want to tell you that the story of today's Army and Air National Guard is something all Americans can be proud of. Okay, men, they're getting too close. Let them have it. Look at them run. Get in our way, will they? That'll teach them. Coast clear? All right? Thank you, man. Thank you. Hold it. Hold it, man. Hold it.
They're not really running away, folks. They're just moving into position for some sharpshooting. At the rate they're moving, they'll be there in no time. These M42s can move along at 40 miles per hour, and that's really hustling for babies this size. You know, the story of any military organization is found in its men, in its machines, and in its missions. These men are Virginia Army National Guardsmen, and that's a radio-controlled aerial target, better known to these guys as an R-CAT. Their mission is to shoot it down. Once this little bird gets airborne, it's up to the R-CAT controller to keep it flying on its prescribed course. You might say he's one pilot who flies with both feet on the ground. When these guys open up on that R-CAT, they have the capability of pumping out 120 rounds per minute from each tube or barrel. Man, that's 240 rounds per minute. I'm glad they're on our side. Incidentally, the weapon I've been referring to is the M42 Duster. Its heyday was a generation ago during World War II when it dusted enemy aircraft from the skies. After World War II, the Army gave the entire Duster system to the Army National Guard. The Guardsmen took the weapon, trained on it, and became professionally competent with it. Watch them go after this R-CAT. See what I mean? That's what I call coming in for a soft landing. Makes things a little softer in our pocketbooks, too. If you've been thinking that guardsmen face a paper enemy in the field on these training exercises, don't say it out loud. The Guard uses its own aggressors right from its own ranks to oppose the good guys on field exercises like this one at Camp Grayling, Michigan. Coordination is a key factor in any exercise. These guardsmen are checking the lay of the terrain prior to the exercise. Battle planning strategy is just as important to the bad guys as it is to the heroes. These men are jumping off on an attack which will test the reaction and effectiveness of elements of the 107th Armored Cavalry Regiment of the Ohio Army National Guard. The guerrillas have plenty going for them, as you can see. These scenes are typical of the realistic combat conditions guardsmen undergo at training sites throughout the United States as well as overseas. Things could get a little hot around here. Gotta hand it to him, though. He really knows how to use that oversized cigarette lighter. I don't know about you, but as for me, I'm not too sure, but I'd just as soon be on the aggressor side in this battle. I'm just kidding. It's mighty comforting to know the bad guys are really good guys in this case. They're all part of the National Guard team. It's red, white, and blue as Old Glory herself. Now, if heavier reinforcements were needed, the Guard has them too. This honest John rocket can deliver a mighty punch if needed. Manning these powerful rockets takes a lot of training, believe me. But these guardsmen are well-trained and well-prepared. The Army National Guard is composed of many different type units, including airborne and special forces. Organizations that demand the best in courage and stamina. These West Virginia Army Guardsmen are preparing to board a West Virginia Air Guard plane for a challenging night operation. Because of the nature of their military responsibilities, National Guardsmen don't accept the words professionalism and readiness as mere slogans. That guy reminds me of Crosby trying to get to the bank with all his loot. There's no room for the timid in an outfit like this. No, sir. And the important thing to remember is that Guardsmen have accepted their responsibilities readily. They're all volunteers. Men who have stood up, ready to be counted if their country needs them. By their oath, they're pledged irrevocably to safeguard the nation and its institutions against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Any guardsman who is worthy of the name accepts this as a fact of service. Guardsmen are citizen soldiers, and their purpose is the American purpose. For more than 300 years now, theirs has been an unbroken record of duty accomplished, of lives saved, of property secured, and of order in the face of potential chaos. Because of the close ties of the Army and the Air National Guard, they are working together continuously. These Rhode Island Army Guardsmen, for example, are practicing an infiltration operation with the help of their Rhode Island Air Guard buddies. The Air Guard has 4 of these Air Commando units, 2 of which are equipped with this HU-16 amphibian aircraft. In situations where commando units require either a land or sea rendezvous or both, this sturdy flying boat can maneuver about and land almost anywhere with ease. Guardsmen are trained to operate under all climatic conditions over all types of terrain. Because the Guard is dispersed in communities throughout the United States, you'll find that many men already are skilled in many of their military assignments before they ever raise their hand to take the oath as a member of the Guard. And that saves dollars for the taxpayers. Natural wild surroundings of the West Yellowstone area set the scene for these Montana Special Forces Guardsmen as they work their way to the top of this barren outcropping. Ordinarily, this cliff would be considered a dangerous obstacle, but danger is just another word to these guys. They figured that the best way around is over the side. Some people call this a gung-ho gravitational go-mobile. Let's watch this fellow. Well, now that wasn't bad. However, if you'd rather take the express route, man, that's what I'd call moving. These guys are on the move, too. Graceful movements, cat-like responses, superb balance and control. That's what it takes for a ballet like this. Yet those are the talents of these Montanans that contribute to their capabilities as guardsmen. They're a proud bunch, and they've got a right to be. Now, it's pretty nice to get paid for this type of thing, but it's training with a purpose. They're actually on a mission to ambush a mythical enemy outpost. Once they reach the area of operations, a brief planning session is all that's needed to finalize the plan of attack. Strict silence becomes the order of the day as the guardsmen close in on their objective. They know the outpost is somewhere close. Then, without warning, they spot the enemy just a few yards away. Because silence is imperative in a situation like this, the usual weapons are not employed. The quiet deadliness of a swift arrow does a much better job. Don't be alarmed. It was just a dummy. From the deep snows of Montana to the tropical beauty of Hawaii. That gives you some idea of the Guard's scope of geographical operations. They reach into Alaska and Puerto Rico, too. These Hawaii Guardsmen are on a routine patrol in an exercise that will eventually bring aerial support from mainland Air Guard units. A last-minute check of plans is made before the troops move out for the objective. You know, the Guard is composed of many veterans of World War II, of Korea, and even Vietnam. Their background and know-how provides a measurement of leadership that should serve as comfort to any parent whose son has joined the Guard. These veteran Guardsmen know the ropes. They've had battle experience. They've been leading men for years, and they know their business, including the techniques of camouflage. See anything? Well, watch. You hear a lot about mortar fire in Vietnam. Well, this is what a mortar looks like. Guardsmen are trained on them, as well as every other fire system with which they're armed. Here's a grenade launcher. It's an accurate little weapon. Just watch. Bullseye. And if you really want to clobber a target, grab one of these 106 millimeter recoilless rifles. These guardsmen operate this weapon with perfection. Bullseye again. Really packs a wallop, doesn't it? If anyone thinks it's all sunshine and flowers in Hawaii, just look at this. This is the Air Guard's radar station atop Mount Koala. Nestled in virgin forest and frequently invaded by wild pigs, this outpost, 4,000 feet high, is shrouded in fog much of the time. That doesn't bother these Hawaiians, however. That radar sweeps through that fog and reaches miles in all directions of the Pacific in surveillance against a possible enemy attack. Nearby, other guardsmen receive and interpret the information collected by the radar atop of the mountain. Each guardsman is a specialist, and each knows his responsibility, like this fellow writing backwards on a transparent wall. If you want some fun, try that sometime. This man has located some Air Guard aerial tankers and jet fighters who are flying from the mainland. They're about 200 miles out, and the radar shows that they're about to rendezvous for the fighter refueling. Then they will continue to Hawaii, where they will take part in exercises with the active Army and with the Army Guard. The Air Guard has 5 air refueling units equipped with the KC-97 aircraft. With 4 reciprocating engines and 2 jet engines, these birds really get out and move. These tankers, from the Illinois, Ohio, and Wisconsin Air Guard, provide the fuel for the jet fighters making the deployment. They're F-84s from the Ohio Air National Guard. Imagine meeting a couple of thousand miles over the ocean to gas up. It's a bit different from pulling into the corner service station. This refueling capability within the Guard makes it possible for the Guard's fighter units to deploy anywhere in the world in a matter of hours. These Air Guardsmen are operationally ready too, and that means that they're ready for combat the minute they get where they're going. After landing at Hickam Air Force Base, the Guardsmen prepare to launch a mission to the island of Hawaii. They get a thorough briefing on their mission and pinpoint the target areas. These are your citizen airmen. These air crews meet the same standards as the active Air Force air crews do. They do not ask, nor do they receive any credit for performing their roles as part-time airmen. Most of these men are successful businessmen in their home communities. And the National Guard believes that it is highly unlikely that a citizen soldier or citizen airman would demonstrate qualities as a soldier or airman that he does not possess as a citizen. This operation was known as Tropic Lightning. It's a good example of the support the Guard provides to active military service. These fighters were working with Army ground troops. As a part of their training for combat, they participate in operations in which close air support is demonstrated. Because the Air Guard is able to support these missions, the Air Force can turn its attention to higher priority missions. Trained for all combat tactics, these fighter pilots carry out airstrikes with speed and efficiency. sortie is planned and coordinated with precision. The Guard works closely with other services, too. These RF-84s of the Alabama Air Guard are taking off on a photo reconnaissance mission over Puerto Rico in exercise Clove Hitch, while another plane has just returned with a load of film for immediate processing. Clove Hitch was a massive operation in the Caribbean involving all the services. Air Guard jet fighters, reconnaissance aircraft, and aerial tankers joined these Navy men from the aircraft carrier Forrestal, proving once again that teamwork among the services provides the background for effective defense whenever and wherever needed. Marines were participants, too. They came ashore by sea and air. Here they are engaging in an air assault after being dispatched from ships at sea to reinforce infantry elements ashore. All Guardsmen swear allegiance to the state and to the nation. For that reason, they train not only for their federal mission, but for their state mission as well. These Guardsmen are playing the part of rioters in this training session. In the event police forces are overwhelmed, the National Guard is the only force immediately available to a community for the distasteful assignment of quelling civil disorder. The Guard has had to face the real thing on many occasions lately. In most cases, folks have recognized the unpleasantness of the duty, and they've accepted the Guard as a force for the preservation of law and order. Whether you're young or old, however, facing a shouting mob or a lurking sniper calls for the highest degree of discipline. This is what the Guardsmen faced in Cicero, Illinois, when demonstrators marched. These are scenes from the Watts riot, where 2 divisions of Guardsmen were called to duty. The usual fire damage and destruction followed us in each riot, while patrolling Guardsmen surveyed troubled streets searching for snipers. Watch closely now. This is a spectacular shot of a fireman just as he's hit by sniper fire. It's a dangerous, frightening duty, but Guardsmen face up to this responsibility as they face up to all others. Because of the increased intensity of violence in our cities, the Guard has accelerated its riot control training. This was Detroit, the highest level of damage and violence ever experienced in an American city. Fires and lots of ruined personal property, snipers, looting, and more destruction. The protection of personal property always has its problems, especially when the trouble spreads like quicksilver over an area plagued by hidden dangers. 2 Guardsmen were assigned to every fire truck to protect the firemen from sniper fire. They were mighty busy, on duty for long hours with little rest, as they helped the weary firefighters battle more than 800 fires. Whenever a flood, tornado, or other disaster strikes a community, the Guard is usually there. This flood brought out the Guard in Kansas, where the Guardsmen played an important role in rescuing the stranded and protecting property. Guardsmen were on the scene immediately, aiding those who suffered in the tragedy in whatever way they could. Ever wonder who fills those sandbags that lie on the shores of an angry river? Ever wonder how those sandbags get on the riverbank? You're looking at the answer to both questions. Those bags weigh 40 to 50 pounds each. Every means is used to reach the stricken who need help. Trucks slowly search out victims. Guard helicopters do their share to assist in rescuing persons stranded in remote areas. Few tragedies strike with more fury than a howling tornado. This one leveled half of Oak Lawn, Illinois. 50 lives were lost during this freak of nature. Guardsmen were on the job immediately, searching debris, helping out the wounded, assisting firemen fighting fires, and restoring power and communications. This school was all but demolished. Shattered ruins offer mute resistance to the presence of patrolling Guardsmen, alert to the possibility of looters. Because the Guard plays a vital role in providing medical assistance in these disasters, nurses are a necessary part of both the Army and Air National Guard. The Air Guard flies many aeromedical missions for the Air Force, and its aeromedical personnel have comforted many victims of the Vietnam War. Assisted by the medics, these nurses fly missions around the world. They work around the clock when necessary to comfort the sick, disabled, and wounded. This specialist helps the nurse check oxygen equipment aboard this C-97. If you really want to find out how terrific these people are, just ask some of the boys who've been wounded in Vietnam. This is Captain Betty Aiken, of the Tennessee Air National Guard. She's made more than 23 trips to Vietnam. Here she administers aid to an air-evacuated patient. Air Guard nurses receive specialized training so they can meet in-flight emergencies.
I understand you have a pretty bad back injury. Have you ever flown before?
Yeah, with good-looking nurses like that around, who wants to be healthy?
What they need are more beautiful nurses like me.
Yeah, we save your kind for us taxpayers. Much has been said and written concerning the tradition and heritage of the National Guard. Throughout its long history, the Guard has always attracted men of the highest caliber, many of whom gone on to become great leaders and respected figures of prominence in the world. For example, George Washington, one of our early militiamen. Others make an impressive list. Here are just a few. Abraham Lincoln. Yes, sir. Old Honest Abe, our 16th president. He started with the militia in 1832 and became a captain with the 4th Regiment of the Illinois Volunteers. Harry S. Truman, our 33rd president, served as a World War I artillery officer commanding Battery D of the 135th Field Artillery, Missouri National Guard. Charles A. Lindbergh, hero of the aviation world, who won fame with the first solo flight over the Atlantic Ocean in 1927. Lindy's military career began in the 110th Observation Squadron, Missouri National Guard. He was granted leave to make his flight. General Earl G. Wheeler, the top military man in the United States as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, began his military service as a member of the District of Columbia Army National Guard. General Curtis LeMay, former Chief of Staff of the Air Force, he started his illustrious career in the Ohio Army National Guard as an artilleryman. Brigadier General Charles W. Sweeney, Deputy Chief of Staff for Air, Massachusetts Air National Guard. He piloted the B-29 that dropped the second atomic bomb on Japan. Its target, Nagasaki. Brigadier General Joseph J. Foss, South Dakota Air National Guard. Former governor of that state, a top ace who won the Medal of Honor in World War II. Captain Larry B. Mason, a veteran of Vietnam who joined the Michigan Air National Guard, awarded the Air Force Cross for extraordinary heroism in Vietnam. While attacking an enemy target, his B-57 tactical jet bomber was hit repeatedly. With a wounded navigator aboard, one engine shut down and the other one on fire, approximately 30 square feet of surface area missing from the right wing, and most of the electrical system knocked out, this young pilot nursed his plane to a safe landing in friendly territory. The Guard also numbers prominent figures in the fields of entertainment and sports among those in its ranks. Here is Bobby Rydell, popular singing and recording star, seen here performing at the Caribe Hilton in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Bobby is a specialist 4th class in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard. Bob Lilly, 6 feet 5 inches, 255 pounds. All-pro defensive tackle with the Dallas Cowboys of the National Football League. Airman in the Texas Air National Guard. Bob Hayes, teammate of Lilly's with the Cowboys. All-pro offensive flanker. Member of the Texas Army National Guard. He's known as the world's fastest unit, and you can see why. Gary Anderson, lieutenant in the California Army National Guard. His specialty, shooting. He's the guy who set 3 new records in winning the World's Rifle Championship at Cairo in 1962. Won 2 gold medals in the 1963 Pan Am Games. Set a new world record and picked up a gold medal in the Olympics at Japan in 1964 and won 7 gold medals during 1966, firing in International Shooting Union-sponsored events. Gary, by the way, is studying for the ministry. If you think the sky's the limit for ex-guardsmen, you're absolutely right. And here are some of the men who can prove it. Russell L. Schweikart, better known as Rusty, former member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard and the first guardsman to be selected for astronaut training directly from the Guard. You're watching him at work in a zero-gravity situation, ironing out bugs so future space flights can be as safe as possible. If you haven't spotted him yet, he's the guy with the red hair. Donald K. Deke Slayton, one of the original 7 astronauts. At one time in his career was a member of the Minnesota Air National Guard. Deke has taken over the administrative responsibilities pertaining to all astronauts in NASA's program. Charles Conrad, Jr., astronaut who has orbited the Earth on 2 occasions and is raring to go again. He's a former member of the Pennsylvania Army National Guard. That's just a few. There are many others. Guardsmen represent a cross-section of the community. In reality, the Guard is the community. That's why it's an organization you can count on. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Earl Wheeler, once characterized the Guard by saying, "From my long association with the National Guard, I've arrived at 2 conclusions. First, as a military organization, it is consistently better than the material with which it is equipped. Second, when the chips are down, the Guard surmounts whatever obstacles confront it and gets the job done." Well, the Guard's been that way for more than 330 years now. That's right, 330 years. Its past has been one of glory and accomplishment. But like that Saturn rocket, it has a long way to go. It'll reach higher and higher achievements in the future. This, then, is really not the end. It's just a beginning.
Performance USA, the greatest entertainers in America, is requested by you, the fighting men of the United States Armed Forces throughout the world. This weekly radio program is governed by your letters. Joe Jeep commands in the War Department of Bays. Anything from a song by Judy Garland to the sizzling sound of a sirloin steak. As this program is being performed in a Hollywood studio, a master recording is made from which transcripts will be shipped to Army and government-operated stations all over the world. Strictly for you men overseas, no matter how small your outfit. And speaking of little things and trivia in general, here's old General Trivia in person. Your commanding officer of this command performance, your old sidekick, and chief scout of the Wolf Patrol, Bob Hope.
Thank you very much. Thank you. How do you do, fellas? This is Bob. This is Bob, Command Performance Hope, telling each Nazi that's in Russia today that Crimea doesn't pay. I'm now getting my material from H.V. Coltonborn. Well, I'm a little tired tonight. I just got back from Camp Roberts, drove down 200 miles in a Jeep. Tomorrow I get the order of the Purple Callus. But I had had a swell time, and I slept right in the barracks last night with the boys. You know what barracks are. That's 2,000 cots separated by individual crap games. But anyway, let's hit the harmony trail to all APO and FPO numbers. For Fletch, Alfie, and Dooley, and for all of you everywhere, the girl who can defuse a blockbuster with one kiss, Miss Betty Hutton.
Thank you. Hiya, fellas, and hello, Bob.
Well, hiya, Betty. And say, I want to congratulate you on your big hit in our new picture. It's nice to see a youngster coming up.
It's nice to see an oldster holding his own.
Well, that's fine. And now, Betty, as one of the 3 flying Huttons, will you answer a slew of command performance requests and strafe us with that 50 caliber tune? He says murder, he says.
Finally found a fella almost completely divine, but his vocabulary is killing this romance of mine. We get into an intimate situation, and then begins this Romeo's conversation. He says murder, he says, every time we kiss. He says murder, he says, at a time like this. He says murder, he says, is that the language of love? He says solid, he says, takes him in his arms and says solid, he says, meaning all the charms. He says solid, he says, is that the language of love? He says chick, chick, you torture me, zoot, are we living? I'm thinking of leaving him flat. He says dig, dig, the jump the old ticker is given. No, he gets on plainer than that. He says murder, he says, every time we kiss, he says murder, he says, keep it up like this and that, murder, he says, in that apostle tone, we'll bring on nobody's murder but his own. He says Jackson, he says, and my name's Marie, says Jackson, he says, shoot the snoot to me, says Jackson, he says, is that the language of love? He says, walk, walk, he says, when he likes my hat, he says, what the heck is that? He says, woo, woo, he says, is that the language of love? He says, pep, pep, with helium now, babe, we're cooking, and other expressions to it. He says, we're into groove, and the groove is good looking. He sounds like his uppers don't fit. He says murder! He says murder! And away he says murder! And that apostle tone! I've told him over and over and over again that it'll be nobody else's murder. Hey! But his own!
Yes, sir, a vitamin pill with legs. How about that? Thanks, Betty Hutton. And also the 370th Army Air Force Band of the San Bernardino Air Service Command. Well, gang, command performance has filled many an order for those sounds that remind you of home, from the bleat of a billy goat to the fizz of a bourbon and soda. And now comes the Ordnance Gang at 863 with a letter from Sarge Everett Hankey and Corporal Roland Lipton and this little dilly. Says, Dear Command, enclosed, please find peace off top of Stuka dive bomber, for which you will please have Lana Turner come out and fry us a 3-inch porterhouse steak smothered with onions, and let's hear it sizzle. Just to prove there's no request too large, fellas, here she is, Lana Turner.
Hello, fellas. And hi, Bob. Say, have the FBI men found a steak yet?
Yes, it's backstage. But, Lana, this is dangerous. If this audience sees steak, they'll come right up here after it.
Oh, I don't know. They've seen ham all evening, and you're still here. Right now, I'm bacon. Now, Lana. Lana, let's get on with this thing. Be a good girl and let's fry that steak, huh? Okay. Bring on the porterhouse steak.
Well, look, they got an armed guard around the stage. Oh, look at this.
Well, all right, Bob. Is your griddle hot?
Yeah, I think so.
That'll do, Bob. Now, the steak, please. Oh, well, here it is, fellas. Beautiful. A porterhouse steak 3 inches thick. The only one in captivity.
You're going to give that a hot foot?
Into the frying pan.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. There you are, fellas. That's the sound of a steak sizzling.
Fellas, that's the steak. That's not me sizzling. That's the steak.
And, fellas, I wish I could cook a big steak for each and every one of you.
But now for the whole AEF, for the Army nurses and Red Cross girls, civilian workers on the fighting fronts, and for the 512 gang who signed themselves Squarehead Bakowski, Cyclops Sink, Body Meeks, Stuka Martin, Incendiary Stasi Wahi, and Sad Sack Jack. Here's one of your all-time sweethearts, another command performance for that lovely sweater girl, Judy Garland.
Thanks, Bob. Hiya, fellas. Sweater girls. Bob, why are men so crazy about sweater girls?
I don't know, Judy. That's one mystery I'd like to unravel. Fellas, one of your favorite combinations. Judy Garland singing Over the Rainbow.
Dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you
Thanks from America to all our men in blue, our boys in khaki too, our tough Marines, our Coast Guard, our Army nurses true. We thank you so much. And thanks to our brave allies, the gallant Russian bear, the British everywhere, the free French and the Chinese, and you Latins way down there. We thank you so much. Fellas, this doesn't rhyme, but one of these days soon we'll be seeing you. And meantime, this is Bob Hope thanking you for those letters to Command Performance, Armed Forces Radio, Los Angeles, USA. Speaking for everybody on Command Performance and saying the best of the best in the USA. So long.
She's on her way, men. From us to you, every week till it's over there.